Okay. Good morning, children. In yesterday class, we discussed about the topic from the 14th chapter. Today also, we are going to continue the 14th chapter. Yesterday we completed the topic biogas production. How the microbes are very useful in biogas production. That is completed in yesterday class. Today we are going to start new topic from same 14th chapter, that is the microbes as biocontrol agents. How the microbes are useful in biological control. Okay, so here you can see, especially in these microbes as biocontrol agents, especially in this topic we have discussed especially about the biological control of pest and diseases. Biological control of pest and diseases. Biological control of pest and diseases. So here, so far, one of the biological control method is there. Especially in this method, biological control method, you have to use natural predators instead of using chemical fertilizers. Here you have to use natural predators. By using these natural predators, you have to control the insect and pest by using natural predators. Natural means biological. Predators means the insects which eat other harmful insects. The insects which eat harmful larvae, harmful caterpillars. So that are called predators. So here, in this method we have to use natural predators which can eat only harmful larvae, means harmful caterpillars only. The remaining useful organisms are not harmed. So that is the natural predators. So this is one of the better method now compared to chemical fertilizers. Suppose if you use the chemical fertilizers, actually generally in our traditional agriculture practices, we are using the chemical fertilizers. By using the chemical fertilizers, that can kill useful and harmful insects, both useful and harmful insects were killed by using the chemical fertilizers. So the very important useful insects which are very useful in pollination, for example butterflies, honeybees, which are the very useful insects, friendly insects, which are very useful in pollination. So because of the conventional agriculture practices, nowadays we are increasingly, indiscriminately, we are using more and more chemical fertilizers. We are using indiscriminately. By indiscriminate use of these chemical fertilizers, that can kill both harmful and useful insects. And also soil fertility also that is reduced. After some years the soils are unable to suitable for cultivation. So these are all the demerits are there by using chemical fertilizers. So instead of chemical fertilizers, you should follow the biological control methods. In that biological control method, you can follow one of the important method. The important biocontrol method is introducing of natural predators. By using these natural predators, you can kill harmful larvae, means harmful caterpillars. Okay. So some of the examples here they given, especially the already very familiar beetle, which is having red and black markings. The name of the beetle is ladybird. Ladybirds and also dragonflies. Ladybirds and dragonflies. These are very these are used for natural predators. These are used as natural predators, especially ladybirds, which having red and black markings. A well-known beetle, ladybird, and dragonflies. By using these two natural predators, we have to control the aphids and we have to control the mosquitoes, which can damage the crops. By using these, we can control the aphids. We can control the aphids population and we can control the mosquitoes population. Okay, so these two are very well known important natural predators. One of the well known red and black markings having the beetle name ladybird and dragonflies. These especially this can control the population of aphids and mosquitoes. And also one of the best important well known microbial biological microbial biocontrol agent is Bacillus thuringiensis. One of the important microbial biocontrol agent is Bacillus. One of the important well-known microbial biocontrol agent is Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay, Bacillus thuringiensis, which is commonly called BT. So this is one of the important microbial biocontrol agent, Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay, Bacillus thuringiensis, which is commonly called BT, which is very useful to control the butterfly caterpillars. Okay, so these Bacillus thuringiensis microbial biocontrol agent, which is especially for control the butterfly caterpillars. So these Bacillus thuringiensis spores, these Bacillus thuringiensis, these are available in the sachets as in the form of dried spores. These are available in sachets, packets. Nowadays, these Bacillus thuringiensis, these are available in the sachets, means packets, in the form of dried spores. Okay. So if you mix these dried spores in water, then you can spread on the diseased plants, damaged plants. So these Bacillus thuringiensis, these are available in dried spores. These dried spores you should mix in water. Then you should spread. Then you should spray on the damaged crops. So especially the larvas will observe these, will eat these, the fluid of these spores. Then the fluids are enter into the toxins, the poisonous fluids are enter into the gut of the digestive system of the larvas. Then the larvas that may die, that may kill. But these Bacillus thuringiensis toxins that may not kill, that may not unharm to another useful insects. Just these Bacillus thuringiensis toxins which kill only damaged crop, especially which kill only the harmful larvas. The larvas which can damage the crop, that larvas only that able to kill, but the remaining larvas which are very useful, the remaining insects which are very useful, that are unharmed. This is about the working principle of the Bacillus thuringiensis (BT). So this is a well-known microbial biocontrol agent, Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay, Bacillus thuringiensis. So Bacillus thuringiensis. This is about. Next here, nowadays by using genetic engineering technique, these Bacillus thuringiensis taxane genes are introduced into the plants. Nowadays, these Bacillus thuringiensis genes are introduced into these toxic genes. Actually, these are the toxic genes. These Bacillus thuringiensis toxic genes are introduced into the plants by using the genetic engineering method. The plants are having disease resistance power towards the insect and pest. So the well-known crops, by using these Bacillus thuringiensis, by using this disease resistance method, some crops are developed. The disease resistance crops. By using this method, the crops which are developed, the crops are called disease resistance crops. Best example, BT cotton plants and BT brinjal. BT brinjal crops. These two crops are developed from these techniques. So they are developed the disease resistance power towards the insect and pest. So this is called disease resistance. These plants are called disease resistant plants, especially BT cotton and BT brinjal. Okay. So this is about the biological control of pest and diseases. So especially in this biological control of pest and diseases, we can use natural predators. Instead of chemical fertilizers, we have to use natural predators, especially ladybirds, dragonflies, which can control the population of aphids and mosquitoes. And one of the important microbial biocontrol agent is Bacillus thuringiensis, which is especially used for control the population of butterfly caterpillars, means butterfly larvae. So these Bacillus thuringiensis toxins are available in dried spores in the sachets. These dried spores are mixed with water. Then you can spray that on the damaged crops. The crops will absorb the toxins. The insects, the larvae will absorb the toxins. Then the larvae that may kill. But these toxins unable to kill the useful insects. So this is called disease resistance capacity. So nowadays, from the last 10 years onwards, we have to, by using especially genetic engineering method. With the help of genetic engineering method, the Bacillus thuringiensis toxin genes are introduced into the plants. Then the plants which are growing, they are developed disease resistant toward the insect and pest. So on that method, especially two plants are famous. Two disease resistant plants, BT cotton and BT brinjal. These two plants are developed by the genetic engineering by using the Bacillus thuringiensis toxins. So by suppose if you cultivate BT cotton or BT brinjal seeds, there should be no need to use of any chemical fertilizers. Suppose if the pest will attack the plant, if any insect will attack, the harmful insect will attack the plant, automatically the insect will die. Okay, so that is the disease resistance. But these BT Bacillus thuringiensis toxins that may not kill useful insects. They must kill only harmful insects, harmful larvae. So there should be no need to use of any chemical fertilizers. Automatically these plants only develop resistance power towards the disease causing larvae, disease causing insects. So these plants are called disease resistance plants. Okay. So especially you can remember Bacillus thuringiensis, BT short form. This is the microbial biocontrol agent. Okay. So next, baculoviruses. one of the important topic is there. Baculoviruses. 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 Okay. Baculoviruses. Baculoviruses are the pathogens that can cause harm to insects and arthropods. Baculoviruses. What are baculoviruses? Baculoviruses are the pathogens that can kill insects and especially arthropods. Baculoviruses are the pathogens that can kill insects and especially that can kill insects and arthropods. Okay, so one of the main important, well-known, popularly using microbial biocontrol agent is the genus Nucleopolyhedrovirus, which is used as baculovirus. Okay, which can control the population of insects and arthropods. The well-known microbial biocontrol agent. Okay, baculovirus is the genus. The name is Nucleopolyhedrovirus. 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 This is the example to the baculovirus. Okay. Next, last important topic: microbes as biofertilizers. 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 How the microbes are used as biofertilizers? Okay. So here, how it is necessary to use biofertilizers instead of chemical fertilizers. Suppose if you use the chemical fertilizers, there should be a soil pollution. Soil fertility decreased, environmental pollution also, air pollution, water pollution also occurred by using these chemical fertilizers. So that's why so many members they are following organic farming method. In this organic farming, they are using biofertilizers instead of chemical fertilizers. Already they realized what are the effects while using chemical fertilizers. They understood the harmful effects of using of chemical fertilizers, which can damage the soil, which can pollute the air, which can pollute the water. So nowadays they are following organic farming methods. In that organic farming method, they are using biofertilizers. But what are biofertilizers? Biofertilizers are the organisms which can improve soil fertility. Biofertilizers are the organisms which can improve the soil fertility. So the important biofertilizers, the microorganisms are used as biofertilizers. Okay, the microorganisms, especially bacteria, fungi, and cyanobacteria. Bacteria, fungi, and cyanobacteria, these are used as biofertilizers. So the biofertilizers are the organisms which can improve soil fertility. Especially you can take the bacteria. Especially already you know that the rhizobium bacteria, which is present in the root nodules of legume plants, which can gives atmospheric nitrogen into simple forms to the soil, then it can fix the nitrogen. The rhizobia bacteria converts the atmospheric nitrogen into simple forms. Okay, in this association both are benefited. Bacteria getting food and shelter, the plant is getting nitrogen. So these bacteria, especially nitrogen fixing bacteria, this bacteria able to give atmospheric nitrogen into simple forms. Then the bacteria it can grow properly. So in this association both are benefited. So this is also called symbiotic bacteria, rhizobia bacteria. Not only rhizobia bacteria, some other free living soil bacteria are also there. One is azotobacter and azospirillum. Azotobacter and azospirillum, which are free living soil bacteria which can enrich the nitrogen quality in the soil, which can improve the nitrogen content in the soil, which can fix the nitrogen. By fixing the nitrogen, they can enrich the nitrogen quality in the soil. So these are nitrogen fixing bacteria, especially these two are free living. This is symbiotic. Rhizobium is a symbiotic. These two Azotobacter, Azospirillum are free living soil bacteria which can enrich the nitrogen content in the soil. Next, fungi. Now coming to the fungi. Fungi also maintain symbiotic association with plant roots that are called mycorrhizae. The fungi which maintain symbiotic association with plant roots, the association is called mycorrhizae. So many members of the species Glomus, many members of the fungi species, the genus Glomus, many members of the fungi species, especially the genus Glomus, they can maintain symbiotic association with the plant roots. They can maintain the rhizobium and they can maintain the mycorrhizae. So many species of the fungi, especially the genus Glomus, they can form the mycorrhizae. So in this association, the fungal biont gives some advantages to the plants. In this association, the fungi facilitate some important to the plant. So because of this association, they can provide phosphorus to the plant from the soil. Because of this association, plants are getting phosphorus from the soil, and also other benefits also there by this mycorrhizal association. Because of this mycorrhizal association, plants also get another benefit. So they develop resistance to root-borne pathogens. They develop resistance from the root-borne pathogens. And also they can able to tolerate. They can able to survive in. They can tolerate in salt conditions, and they can able to survive in drought condition, and they can increase the growth and development of the plant. So these are the benefits occurred by using this association. Because of this mycorrhizal association, plant having more and more benefits. The first benefit is they can provide phosphorus to the plant from the soil, and they develop resistance power towards the root-borne disease, and they are able to survive in high salt concentration. They are able to survive in drought conditions, and they can increase the growth and development. These are the benefits occurred by the association of the mycorrhizae, especially the Glomus species. They can show this type of the mycorrhizal associations. Okay. Next, coming to the cyanobacteria, which is called blue-green algae, which is autotrophic, which can live in terrestrial as well as aquatic ecosystem. Which can live terrestrial and aquatic ecosystem, which can fix nitrogen to the soil. Some examples are there: nostoc, Anabaena, and Oscillatorium. Nostoc, Anabaena, Oscillatorium. Especially in paddy fields, the cyanobacteria gives important nutrients to the soil. Especially in the paddy fields, the cyanobacteria fix nitrogen to the soil, and especially the blue-green algae also fix some organic matters into the soil, which increase its nutrients. So these both are benefited. Cyanobacteria, which is called blue-green algae. So examples: nostoc, Anabaena, Oscillatorium. So especially in paddy fields, the cyanobacteria enrich nitrogen to the soil. The blue-green algae also that can add organic matter to the soil, and which improves its fertility. So these are the well-known biofertilizers. Okay, this is about the microbes as biofertilizers. These are all the microbes, algae, bacteria, fungi, algae. These are used as biofertilizers. Okay. So this is about the microbes in human welfare. So far we discussed what are the benefits we are getting from the microbes. Okay. So these are the uses of microbes. So this is about the 14th chapter completed learning. Thank you.